Oh, okay. So, welcome any potential listeners. We've got zero views at the moment. That's fine. Um, so yeah, we're gonna talk about uh, and it's a funny one, and an interesting one for me and you anyway. But is marriage easy? And we can start off with your um notes. Is marriage easy for? How is marriage easy for the wife? And your point of view.
Okay. So we starting off with
Oh,
how is
sorry. Hang on, hang
marriage?
on, hang on. Sorry, I forgot to say. I forgot to
Yeah.
say. I should start this properly. Cheryl's my wife, so we're on stereo talking together about is marriage easy. So it's her first time being with me on stereo, and having this conversation. So yeah, all right, babe. I'll let you get to your stuff first.
Okay. So repeat the question again.
So, is marriage easy from a female point of view, wife point of view? Is it easy for you? And what are some things to take note of when it comes to marriage? So, is
Okay.
marriage easy? But answer the other question, which is kind of quick. Is it worth it though? Is
All
marriage
right.
worth it in your
Okay.
opinion?
Yeah. So right. So marriage isn't easy. And it's quite a broad subject, to be honest, for the reasons why.
Hmm.
But I would say it is worth it. But it's only worth it if two people want to fight for it, or if both parties think each other is worth I wouldn't say putting up with. I'm not
Mm,
really sure the right word for it, but um I'm not really great with words sometimes, but um
mm,
it's sort of there's ups and downs, so it's like you obviously we're always learning things about our partners, but if you know them enough in terms of to know that when they say certain things, they don't mean it in a way, like you can, and that they're not like they're not a what is the word, um they're not a spiteful kind of person, because
hmm
you know what I mean, that makes it easier because you know that they genuinely love you. So any
hmm
problems is worth working out. No matter how long it takes, you'll both want to spend the time to work it out, basically. And you
hmm
know,
So if they stick it out with you, ride it out, then
yeah,
you'd say
basically,
it's not easy, but it's worth it if they're
it's
willing to
worth
do
it.
that, and that's a start. Yeah. Okay. What else have you got?
Well, really, I can only go by my experience so far. I
Hmm.
mean, in the year and a half now that we've been married, but um, I basically found is bear with me. So um, before being married to you, I lived with my mom. So and my mum still did quite a lot of the mumsy stuff. Although I'm an adult, like she did a lot of the cooking, and and I'm ashamed to say it, and I should have helped her more, but she did a lot of, obviously because it's her, it was my house as well, but it was
Yeah.
her house, so she just got on and did quite a few things, and we worked different hours as well, so
Yeah.
but I found it quite difficult when we moved in together, um you know doing,
Yeah, I did as
running
well.
a
Yeah.
house, and now I as I'm older, I sort of, yeah, basically I found that difficult. um
Hmm.
so that was one element of being married that I found difficult. um and obviously, like, having, as my dad passed away when I was like in my early 20s, I almost forgot what it was like to live with a man around, because
Hmm.
it was a household full of women, so I
So give
had.
give an example about the living with a man thing. Expand on that, and you can use me as an example if you want. Um,
Oh,
uh,
okay. Sometimes, not all the time. Men do things different from women. And it's just men. Okay, from my experience with living with you, obviously every man is different, every woman's different, but I was more attentive to the housework, whereas you were more attentive to letters, to fixing things, and other things that that is very important. But for me, keeping on top of the house was, I felt like I needed more help with that. Although I did
Hmm.
appreciate what you were doing, but our priorities were slightly different. And
Hmm.
I think it's better now because we've lived together longer. um you know
Yeah, and I remember that because I remember and I think you'd say hopefully I've gotten better. But yeah, I do remember last year. Um, it was a yeah, it was a struggle, and we had to juggle a lot of things. And I remember you didn't always tell me what you're struggling with, and I told you, yeah, just let me know, and I'll help out. Um, because I wanted to help, but again, it was different because, like you said, you was at your mum's house. You didn't always um volunteer to help around the house, and I was slightly the same. If it was asked of
yeah
me to do something or cook or wash dishes, I would do it. And then it was kind of like thrown in the deep end for both of us, and then we kind of realized, okay, we got stuff to do. Do you know what I mean? Even for example, last year, it was hard for me to manage the laundry basket because it just didn't occur to me every day. Make sure the clothes are washed. Do you know what I mean? Because I was so used to my mum and dad sorting stuff out like that.
yeah
Do you know what I mean? So it's and it's only two of us. But
that's
yeah. So it's kind of like it's good because we haven't got any kids at the moment, but it's a good kind of learning curve and practice. Um, but yeah, that was one thing, yeah, that we did struggle with. But I think have I gotten better with that?
Yeah, I think, you know what, I think that's always going to be the case when, we're from the backgrounds that we are, in terms of we weren't living on our own necessarily. I know you were, for a bit before we got married, or house sharing, but when you're sort of, when you're in your parents' house, no matter how old you get, sometimes it's like they're always doing the motherly or the parents thing. And it's not really an excuse, because but until you basically have to run your own household, like by
Mm,
all by yourself. I'm not on about a little room now, because I mean, when I lived away for university, I wasn't running a household. It was a room with an ensuite, you know what I mean? And we had cleaners as well that helped us to vacuum, and so that's something different. But when you're literally running your own flat or house, and you're like, oh, it is a bit of a shock. But again, as the months go on, you'll have your squabbles and your disagreements. And then and I mean, and that's what we had at first, and we still do. But I feel like when it comes up, I handle it better. I don't get as emotional and feel as frustrated with you than I used to.
mm.
And I'm more receptive to the things you tell me, where as well, I feel anyway. Yeah, I feel more receptive when you tell me things, like when I don't check the letterbox and things like that, which lately well, I've done it today.
Yeah, oh yeah, you did, didn't you? I mean, what I meant by that is, and that's why like communication is good. I mean, and important. What I meant is that when I'm not here, if you can check it and stuff like that. And sometimes I forget as well because I don't know, it's difficult. It really is. Like, and I know me and you, like we're both lazy people, which is fine. And then it's kind of we find it difficult to. I feel like we could find a lot of stuff to do every day in the house, and it would just
Yeah,
drive us
that's a good
crazy
point.
because
Yeah,
and sometimes we need a break though, and I think that's important. Um,
yeah,
we need a break. And because we've been working from home as well, double the mess.
yeah,
So
basically.
and we didn't think that we would have to deal with this stuff because of COVID and stuff like that. So it's been challenging.
It
Um,
has.
but yeah, we've gotten through it. What else is on your list?
Um, I would say forgiveness. You know what? I don't really get into too much problems with people, to be honest, because I just if I can avoid problem with people, I avoid it. To be honest, it's
Mm,
only but I would say I've had to forgive more in a year and a half than I feel like I've had to really forgive my whole life. I know that seems kind of
oh boy.
different, but just little things that I may, that we may have said in the moment, or when we're really frustrated with each other, or like obviously you're a lot quicker to talk to me about stuff than I am with you. I need a bit more cooling down time. But I think I'm learning more about forgiveness, like yeah, day to day
You're
forgiveness.
making it sound really bad. Like you have to give
No, no,
it.
no. It's not even that though, because no. What I meant is in the past, the only situations that I had to forgive is like if it was something to do with my family, or like and those occasions were very rare, or say
Okay.
friendships and stuff. But
Yeah.
obviously, when you get two people come together and you're with each other daily, and something might tick you off, one of you may react badly in like, and I'm usually the one that's quite harsh with the way I react sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
And obviously you've had to forgive me a lot,
Hmm.
for and sometimes if we've had an argument and I've felt hurt about something, and usually it's not necessarily that thing. Usually it can be little things that are build up, or reminders of something that make me feel hurt or upset again. And then I have to learn to um, just remember that it's a journey.
Yeah,
And
and I remember that you usually when you do it, you do talk to me about it and you say, look, I remember this or when you did that. And guys, it hasn't been honestly nothing that deep or damaging, but because I've done the same in it, Sherrod. Sometimes I'd come to you and say, look, I still remember when you said this or that or whatever. And we talk about it. And the thing I like about us is we always talk about it, and we just build on top. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing.
yeah, I don't believe, what, I think with you, I've learned not to shy away from things, because I've always been the type of person that, I don't like making a fuss if there's nothing, if I feel there's nothing to really make a fuss about. But I'm learning with you, or I'm feeling more confident, like if something's really ticked me off then and there, just to come and tell you about it rather than keeping it in, because it's, you
Yeah, it's
know,
gonna boil over later.
yeah, it boils over. So it's just like, look, it's like there's no good, and that's really, obviously there's a time and a place to do those things, but when you're living with a partner, in our case, husband and wife, then you just have to talk about it straight away and not be afraid. I mean, you're supposed to be able to be yourself, your complete self, with your life partner,
Yeah.
which that's not really going to be the case with your friends sometimes. With your friends sometimes, you don't want to hurt anyone, but when you're I find I'm more honest with you, of course, than I am with my friends, because I feel like whether good or bad,
All right.
I
Hmm.
can tell you,
Yeah.
and yeah, and we'll work it out either way. But um I'm learning more I'm easier to forgive than I was, when we first got married anyway. And I'm still getting there, but I'm finding it a bit easier. And yeah, basically.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that input on that. That's quite good stuff.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
we can't forget about God as well. Actually, sorry, with God's help, anyway, I'm remembering how I should love you as well. I basically, if I was focusing on myself, on how I love, because as much as I do love you, my love is conditional. Like, there's some days, and I hope you don't mind me saying it. There's some days I absolutely love you, in love with you, think you're the greatest husband in the world. And there's other days
mm,
where I feel like, Lord, him get on my nerves. And I'm sorry, I have to go a bit Jamaican with that because, something may really tick me off. And I feel like going on really bad with you and all of that. And,
yeah, I mean, it's the same with you. I mean, I love you a lot, and yeah, I mean, I said it before we got married. I said, look, we're gonna get on each other's nerves. Um,
yeah,
you
literally,
know,
you have to be realistic. Like, it's going to
but
happen a
you
lot.
you have to have these expectations.
Yeah.
It's not like those movies that we watch, and it's it's all rosy and all happy and whatever. No, yeah, because like I said, ups and downs will happen. I told you there's going to be times where we're going to get upset with each other, and I have said this to you, but I'm always going to love you though. That's something that's not going to change.
Yeah.
I tell you how I feel, how I might feel, what I feel like doing, whatever. But I say I love you, and I need your help on this because this is how you're going to make me feel. And I know you've done the same as well. And
Yeah.
then the thing is, from a man's point of view, is the compromise part. Because with women, or what I've noticed with you, is that um, it's hard for you to listen, and because
Yeah,
you're not
I
finishing
agree with
talking
that.
yet, you want to keep talking, keep talking, keep talking, and I'm sitting there listening, and then when I get a bit in, I try and talk again, and then you don't really get it, and then I kind of so I feel like it's more communication with you, and when you try and communicate with me something you don't like, it probably takes me under 30 minutes to kind of understand where you're coming from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'll be honest with you, right? As although I live with you, no, it's nothing bad, right? Although I live with you, I don't really understand men, and I don't think. Okay, put it this way: I understand. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand
because
you,
all your
or
siblings are sisters. Yeah.
yeah, basically, I understand. I'm understanding you more
Yeah.
and more because I feel
Mhm.
like I feel like um I'm learning to, when you're frustrated, I've really upset you. Yes, okay, I may be a bit stubborn at first, but
Mhm.
once I've calmed down as well, I'm more open to ask you, why do you feel that way? You know what I mean? Because, like I said, a lot of the time it's not just something simple. It's other things that are going on, which that situation did not help. If you know what I
Right.
mean,
Hmm.
if that kind of makes
So,
sense.
so you mean there's unresolved stuff
Yes.
that happened that has
Yeah.
kind of now ripple affected to the next
Yeah.
disagreement.
But basically, whether it is something to do with us as a couple or something individually,
Hmm.
although we're a couple, we are still individuals. We're just living together. Like, I as well as my husband, I see you as my roommate. You know what I mean? Because technically, you know what I mean. We've still got our separate lives, but we live it together and we share certain aspects of it together. But we've still got our own interests, our own friends that we have together. So that aspect of life doesn't change. But um, as usual, I go off on a tangent. Um, help rein me in a bit, please. Thank you.
No, you're on the right track. You haven't diverted at all. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, but no, yeah, you're right. We are different. We do have our own friends. We have friends that we hang out with together and apart. Um, but what I like though about us, and this wasn't a part of the discussion, but it actually is. What I've learned though is how to adjust our life in a way that I respect you and you respect me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
because when you're married, it's you can't be moving around and operating the same way as you were single. I mean, we just had a discussion off stereo, right? And
Yeah,
like, I remember I had to ask certain questions first before I understood, right? Because my
yeah,
issue was I haven't been to Jamaica, so I don't understand the Jamaican culture. Where you had to, at first you were like, oh, this is just what they do. And then I had to ask you, hang on, you need to break it down for me because I don't know, is it the culture? And then that's when you started telling me, do you know what I mean? So we're learning how to communicate now. What if I snapped and then it turned to an argument? Do you know what I mean? So we're both learning how to talk and to communicate effectively. Um, does
wait,
that make
can we
sense?
that makes sense. Can we go back? I remember what I was talking about now. Right, so
Hmm.
I said to you that I'm learning to understand you,
Right.
but I don't think I will ever understand men. So, like, because I'm not a man, as much
It's not
as
a bad thing. I mean,
no,
yeah, I
no,
mean, it's not,
it isn't bad, but because I'm not a man, I will. The reason why I think certain ways is because I see things from a woman's perspective,
and that's fine.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and without asking you, I probably will, yeah,
You
without
would do
asking
things
you,
in a woman's, yeah, without, yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, I get
basically,
you.
which, and I'm
Yeah.
learning to ask you more, instead of say going just off what I think, or or what I feel. I'm learning to ask you more. I'll still tell you what I feel and think, but I'm learning to ask you
Mm.
more about what about yourself, and why you operate a certain way. Why is it that you think a certain way? I may not agree when you tell me the answer. We may agree
Yeah,
to
but
disagree, but
at that point,
that's
we need to
okay.
come down. Yeah, exactly. And at that point, though, we need to come to a mutual understanding of why we both think the way we think and how can we
Yeah,
meet each other in the middle.
in
Like, for
yeah, yeah,
example, like it's simple things. Like, for example, and I'm going to say it. The It's hot at the moment in the UK, right? And this week we've been struggling with the windows. I don't want the windows wide open because I don't like bugs coming in. I don't like spiders, and that's what we've been getting. And but I need it open, I need fresh air. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna crack it a little bit wide open. But here's the deal: if any bugs come in here, I'm not killing it. You're killing it, and you're like, okay, deal, you know. But on Monday, I think Monday and Tuesday, it was a bit like, Nathan, stop closing the window. If you're gonna close the bedroom window, I'm gonna sleep in the living room because it's hot. Do you know what I mean? But we sorted it out. Um, so it was again what I've noticed from myself and what I've had to work on is not to be selfish. I have to think about you, and I know you'd probably say you think about me a lot, but there's still room, there's
I
still
try to,
an
but
improvements.
yeah,
No,
I
I'm
do
talking about
try
me. I'm
to.
talking about me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, as a man, I need to. I can't be selfish. Do you know what I mean? Um, so that's something that I'm learning and improving and the thing is that we'll never be perfect. That's the thing, and I think that
No,
the key
and I
thing
don't
to
expect you to
have,
be.
yeah, the key thing to have is communication and to know each other's journey in the relationship. For example, you know my you know my past, I know
Yeah,
your past, and we both know that both of our pasts were kind of difficult and hurtful, and we came
at
together.
times.
We talked about everything before I even proposed, and we understood each other, which helped now in the marriage stage because now do you know what I mean? And then certain things popped up for both of us last year, and we sat together and we talked about it. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? And we we comforted each other regarding our issues that were not even that you wasn't even a part of. and vice versa. And that's what's important, because sometimes the past can come back even though it shouldn't. And sometimes you do think, well, like if you don't mind me using you, right? You said to me, I think you were slightly worried because the fact that you said, why are you so consistent? And that scared you because I was being consistent in the dating season. So
Yeah,
do you remember?
yeah. I
So
remember.
and you asked me why, and my reply was, it's just me. Like, I'm serious, so I'm gonna be consistent. But for you, it was different because you haven't had anyone that was consistent. And do you know what I mean? So, and then for me, it was the fact that you was kind, because I've and you didn't shout, you wasn't, do you know what I mean? Like, you treated me good. So in my mind, I was thinking, wow, like she's acting totally different. I remember I always asked you in the dating, says, are we okay, by the way? Is everything good? Are you happy in a relationship and stuff like that? And you was like, yeah, I'm happy. And you always said, trust me, if I wasn't happy, I'll tell you. But my
Mm.
experience was that when girls say one thing, it doesn't mean something. And I've had to kind of take that out, because with you, it's literally not that way. Because if you are upset, yeah, and I always say you're a little bit like your mum, you will tell me. So
Of course I will.
so yeah, and the same for me, you know, I would tell you. Me, it's different because I'll tell you, but then I probably won't go too deep into it. I'm trying to learn how to tell you everything. I do tell you everything, but I don't talk the
Eventually, yeah.
I don't talk. I talk for about 10 minutes and I leave it. And then when something really does hit me, I'll talk to you for like an hour or 2 hours about how I'm really feeling. And I do talk to you about it, but I don't go into depth because, do you know what I mean? Because I don't want you to think you've done anything, or you're do you know what I mean? Or you're not a good wife, because you are. It's just, stuff happen. Um,
I think I do understand that like when you're not ready to talk, I can't force you, and I'm learning that. And I just, when it's a more appropriate time, I'll ask you again, maybe like, what was wrong, and if you still had said no, you're not ready to
I've I've
talk,
I've
then I would
I've
have
had
left it.
those. I've had. I mean, it hasn't been. I always say I'm not ready to. I think I've said only once. I'm not ready to talk about it yet because how I'm still feeling. And I always say that I still love you and everything, and I'll hug you and whatnot. But I just at the moment it's like I can't say it because it will come out. It may come out in the wrong way, and in my head, because when I talk, I want to. I'm very smart in the way that I talk, in a way that I have to remember that I'm talking to my wife, a lady, and I have to make sure when I talk, my words come out in a way that you can understand it, instead of me just ramping on. Because when I'm upset with somebody and I tell
Yeah,
you I'm
you're
upset, my
harsh.
mouth runs.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You,
so so when I say I'm not ready to talk yet, I've only said it twice, but usually I'm always ready to talk. But if I'm not ready, then it's kind of like, yeah, I need to think about stuff. I need to really just calm myself down before
yeah.
I speak to you. And I think you're slightly the
I'm
same as.
getting there now, really. I mean, if because you know what, sometimes there's some things that come in your mind and in the heat of the moment that you feel like telling that other person, but if it ever slipped out your mouth, you literally have to pray and just like, God, help me to hold my tongue, because literally it's one of
I
them. It's
remember
like, because
I remember you
yeah.
telling me I remember you telling me, if I tell you what I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna you won't like it, so leave me alone. And I'm the type of person that sometimes I don't like leaving you alone, because I don't because with you sit on things, and I like to sort it right there and then. I said, well, don't say anything horrible to me then, but tell me exactly how you feel. And you can be harsh. And I remember telling you that you can be, because there's some moments I'd say to you, yeah, just say what you want to say, however blunt it is, and then I'll talk after, and we'll sort it out. Um, we've got a voice note. Let's listen to this quick.
Hi, folks, just tuned in. I think the key to making a marriage work is compromise. I've been married 11 and a half years, a 9-year-old daughter. I think it's about compromise. putting the other person first, and you find that works well because you both put each other first, and you both are patient with each other and understanding and caring, and make allowances for each other as well. That's important. And just remembering that the reason why you got married, and if you obviously put God at the centre of your marriage, you serve God, so you want to serve your spouse as well. God bless, and take care.
Thank you, bro, for that. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, compromise is key. So he didn't say compromise. He said communicate, right?
Mm.
Did he say compromise?
I think it was compromise. Yeah.
Yeah, compromise. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is important. And I've said that a lot. Um, and like I said, you can't be selfish. We both can't. But something key that he said though, remember the reason why you got married, and that's something that we always remember. But when me and you talk about it, you know, it's very it hits home. Do you know what I mean? And then we talk to each. It gets a bit cheesy, innit?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
we
like to
talk about.
remember that.
No,
I
yeah,
do
so
like.
do I. It's a nice cheesy, but yeah, we talk about why we met each other, how we met, and because we met off a dating app and all that stuff, and we thought, if probably wouldn't work out because it's an app, but and there's little
Well,
things that we
wait,
remember.
sorry to stop you, baby. Yeah, I don't think
Mm,
it was a Christian dating app. It wasn't
Christian
maybe.
dating app,
Yes, please. It wasn't
yeah,
like the Tinder. Well, in the UK, there's Tinder and all kind of stuff.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
that
Thanks for
kind of.
clarifying that. Yeah, it was a Christian dating app called Christian Connections. Um, the developers are based in the UK, and yeah, it's open to America and other countries. But yeah, we met on that. Um, and we talked on the first day, and then we came off on the first day, right? Or was it the second day?
Yeah, no, I
Was it the
think it
first
was.
day?
Yeah, I think it was literally the
No,
first
I
day.
was on it. I was on it for 2 days, but when I spoke to you, yeah, I came off it on literally right there and then. Um, so yeah, it's good to compromise. We've got another voice note. Bear with me. Hang on a second. Yeah, let's listen to it. Cool.
Hey,
It's not playing. Why is it doing
hey,
that?
what's up, guys? So, I've been married for 2 years now, and let me tell you something. Marriage is not easy, but at the same time, it is not really difficult at the same time. Marriage, especially nowadays, because you have around you so many distractions that distract you from the concept of marriage. Many things around us, mainstream media, movies, sitcoms, music, TikTok, social media, so-called influencers, and so on, don't encourage the concept of family anymore that much. Don't encourage the concept of marriage that much anymore. They encourage, do whatever you want, even if you're living a degenerate lifestyle. The concept of promiscuity, right, is encouraged more than marriage, if you think about it, sometimes in movies.
Oh, Nathan, can I go?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna ask for your
So
opinion first.
yeah, so basically, so I'll talk about the two voice notes. So the first one, I think it was Simon.
Hmm.
Yeah, you could tell he's been married for a long time because, you know, he doesn't. Well, he just comes straight out with it. You know what I mean? So you can tell, whereas, yeah, he's quite straight to the point where, because we're still, obviously it's only been a year and a half for us, so we're
Yeah,
literally just kind of thinking about the different situations that we've faced
yeah.
very recently. So it's, you can tell there's a lot of wisdom there from him, to be honest. And
Hmm.
for the other person as well that just left a voice note, I completely agree with what he's saying, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that aren't encouraging healthy marriages,
Yeah,
let
yeah,
alone healthy relationships for, you know, the
yeah,
stages prior to marriage. You know, and you can, but you know, with this generation, you can see that there's not
yeah,
as many marriages as our parents' generation.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
sorry, you go. Sorry, I keep
No,
butting
no, I
in.
was just gonna finish, and basically, like I said, a lot of our generation now don't know. It's almost like they're putting up with unhealthy relationships or going. You know, they just. It's like they
Yeah,
don't know the difference between what's good and what's not. In a way.
yeah, and and uh, a brother just left another voice note, and I'm gonna listen to it in a moment. Um, something that you said that, and this is why I'm on stereo talking about it. That's why we're on here. But social media um doesn't cater to relationships. It
No,
doesn't
it
at
doesn't.
all, and they don't care about if you're married or not. Whatever you want to do, that's what you want to do. I didn't tell you this, babe, but I got into an argument with someone on Instagram because a YouTuber who is married, he posted a picture of just his chest, right? And he's quite muscly and whatnot. And one, you wouldn't let me do anything like that. And then a woman on there who was also married, she said, "Oh my," with heart fire emojis, right?
Oh, that's
Uh,
out of order, to be
And I
honest.
said, yeah, and I said, but you're married. And she goes, oh, I was just being, I'm not trying to get him. I'm just being playful. So
You should be
already,
being playful with your husband, though. To be
yeah.
honest,
So and
you know.
I did actually, I did actually say, would your husband find this appropriate? And she didn't actually answer the question. She just put, I'm just finding this so funny. And so I kind of sat back and I was like, wow, like it's really a struggle out here, you know. Um, and there isn't really anything that you can, I mean, even oh gosh, even like you said, no one's getting married anymore, you know. It's really our parents. I mean, when we look at our parents and their generation, a lot of them got married. um if that message came up on your stereo, just keep pressing refresh.
Which message?
Oh, okay, no, fine, because stereo just popped up saying it's crashed, so I thought it happened on yours. um
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, so let's listen to another voice note by Golden. One second.
Hi.
It's doing it
Why?
again.
Because in the days of our dads and moms, or in the days of our grandfathers and grandmothers, marriage was easier because life was less complicated. Marriage was easier because there were less distractions. There was no social media, no internet, nothing. Yes, there was TV and so on, but much less distractions. So life was less complicated, which meant less complications in marriage. The problem is with distractions that distract you from marriage. And that's why many people, instead of looking at where they're standing and where their feet are, which is married life, marriage, some people, daydream or fantasize about being a bachelor or being single again. So yeah.
Yeah, what have you got to say about that, babe? 'Cause that's true. There's a lot of distractions. But
There
for you,
is.
you don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, yeah, no, I do agree with that, to be honest. I mean, I'll be quite honest. Hopefully this is on the same line. Was it Goldie?
Golden. Yeah, Golden. Yeah, Golden Wildcat. I think it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Hopefully this is sort of on the same line of Golden, but I think really, although marriage is easy, and I don't think anyone's I feel like as long as you're prepared to work at it, because I mean,
Yeah.
like when I was younger, I always wanted to be married, not necessarily. Well, what I wanted was a stable relationship, so obviously it would have, I didn't necessarily want to be caught in for long periods of time, because I know, if I'm real, to be honest, I know that, I wanted to do my best, with God's help, of course, not to have sex before marriage, and, yeah. So I know that I would fall very easily, which is why I didn't want a long courtship. But to be honest, yeah, I think I did have a point, but
let
it was about the
let me
preparation.
let
That's it.
let me kind of mend that a little bit, because what you said about distractions, because
That's it.
um
That's it.
we do have distractions, and yeah, I mean, we're both Christians, and it could have been, I could have said to you the first day I met you, oh, I really want to have sex with you, da, 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 da. Why? And you would be like, no, no, I want to wait there. But for me, it could have been like, well, everyone else is having it, so why can't, why can't we just, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there are a lot of distractions out there. And even when it comes to marriage, I remember, I won't say it because it's personal, but I remember, I had some issues. And what I really liked about you, and I still do, obviously, is that you heard me out, and we talked about certain things, why I felt certain way, why I did certain things, you know. Um, and that's what I liked. And I thought, wow, do you know what I mean? Like, I remember telling you, oh, I thought you'd get upset. You're like, no, because you told me, and we can work on it. And from what I've noticed with marriages, if you want to make things work, you have to just be open. And I thought,
Yeah.
and again, just looking at social media, it paints a different picture, because when you watch things and stuff like that, it makes it seem like, oh, if you tell your partner something, she's gonna just get rid of you. And it wasn't the case with you. I just spoke to you about certain things, struggles and stuff like that. I mean, you said something. You said something this year. You said, um, how come you don't look at other women? Like, I never see you looking at other women walking. And I remember telling you that I notice things, but I don't, um because I love you and respect you and our marriage, you wouldn't see me looking. And I said to you, I may see something and I'll look and move my eye, but you know what I mean? But you wouldn't see me disrespect you in the sense of I'm looking for 10 seconds. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm.
and it's the same with male and female, because unfortunately there are distractions out there. The flesh, yeah. The Bible says the
Yeah.
spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So um
Yeah.
the way that I see it is, I could make a mistake tonight, and I would, and for example, and I'd have to come back to you and say, look, this is what I did, you know. But there's one thing I know and the good thing is that I know myself, and you know yourself, and there's boundaries that we wouldn't cross, and I love that about us. But I do expect me and yourself to mess up sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Because we're human, and um, no one's perfect, and we're still learning together. Do you know what I mean? Um,
Mhm. Can I ask something? If you like, speaking of sort of knowing yourself, right? Basically, a thought just dropped into my spirit. Then you really have to be quite disciplined to be in marriage, because, like, let's be honest. If I was a girl that, say, couldn't keep my eyes to myself, I feel like until I get that part of my life sorted out, there'd be no point in, because there'd be no point in getting into a relationship, because I feel like, not just married, I just kind of feel like people are so quick to get into a relationship, without really bettering themselves first enough to
yeah,
you know what I mean. They're just quick to jump in for whatever reason, whether it's because of having sex or something, creating that bond with that person, and before
Mhm.
or whatever. Obviously it's not, but you get what I'm trying to say. They're not necessarily thinking, okay, if I'm like this in the relationship, it will cause it to fail, or you know what I mean? Like, they're just not really sorting themselves out first. I mean, we'll always come with some kind of issues or baggage, because we go through life and whatever, but just some basic things that will help to have a healthy marriage. You know, I mean, I had a bit of therapy before I got with you, because, you know, there was a lot of things, like even insecurities that would have affected our marriage, you know, and once I felt good about myself and felt beautiful, I didn't always need, obviously it's nice to get that affirmation from your partner, but unless you feel a certain way about yourself first, you know, then you know, or unless you feeling happy or know how to make yourself happy, you know, then you know, as much as your husband loves you and things like that, you know, they can't make you happy, you know, not complete
Yeah.
things that they do can help, but you know, if you're unhappy or don't like something about yourself, no matter how much they tell you, it's not really going to make a difference until you kind of sort that part out for yourself, almost, I
Yeah,
guess.
definitely agree. Golden has left 3 voice notes. Let me just play all 3, and then we will comment on what he's saying. If it's gonna play. Oh, no,
Nathan, oh yeah, 100% correct when it comes to married people on social media. If you are married, act like one. That's it. That's it. There are many married women out there marketing themselves on social media to still get validation, because validation from their husband is not enough. So they want more validation and more attention from social media. So they post all those seductive pictures. Okay, no, I'm just posting pictures. They are not just pictures. You know what's going on. You know that there are guys looking at you, staring at you with thirst. And you know that this hurts your husband 100%. Okay? So any person, if you're married, act like one.
I'm gonna play the second one. That's deep.
Very.
Okay, I can't play the second one. Hang on.
Look, same here. Since I was 18 years old, I always wanted to have a family, to get married. But circumstances didn't work out. So I thought, meanwhile, I'm going to live as a bachelor, I'm going to have fun and everything. And for many years, I thought, okay, you as a bachelor, have fun as much as you can, okay, with certain boundaries, hook up with girls as much as you can, and the more you know girls, the more you know how they think, and it will be easier for you to know which girl is the right one to be the mother of your kids, and so on. And it is a valid argument. However, there is a downside to it, that you become addicted to this lifestyle. So the more of a player a guy is, the more challenging it will become for him to settle down.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
And that's why I get it now. I get it. I get why there are so many people who are more traditional, let's say, more religious, more conservative, who believe in getting married and creating family at a young age, and avoiding, the single lifestyle of of hooking up and so on, and casual sex and everything. Now I get it. Even though we may have made fun of them. Like, come on, like we are in, you live in the cave ages. But now I get it. Why? Because again, you get caught up in this lifestyle, and later on, when you want to settle down, it will become a bit challenging for you. This is the problem. And let me tell you something. Single life is exciting. It is exciting. The excitement. But not everything that is exciting is fulfilling.
So true. So
Wow,
true.
that's all the voice notes, by the way. Yeah, that's I feel like us men struggle more, especially with stuff like this. Even married men, because we do see a lot, and I guess for certain men, it's hard kind of not to comment and stuff like that. And this is what I love about God, though. We can always go back to God and say, Lord, forgive me and all this stuff, um, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I kind of think on everything of what you said. And even I've told you the things that I've struggled. I mean, I would never ever think about. I've never been a playboy. I've always been the quiet one. Like I told you, I was always quiet, and I was always bullied for being quiet. Um, but I've always, like what our brother said, Golden. I've always wanted to be married as well from the age of when I was 17, 18, 19. So and then it didn't happen, and I kind of took the time out. Like I told you, Shira, like I know a lot of female friends, so I was just getting to know females and how they work, and I've got sisters as well, but so I knew a lot. And then when I met you, it was kind of easy for me to be consistent, because you were saying, "Oh, why are you so consistent?" And it was just easy for me because, do you know what I mean? Because it's and I saw how my dad treated my mum, and so some of those stuff really came kind of easy for me a little bit. Um, But yeah, we always will make a mistake though. We always will. So mistakes happen, and we really have to talk about them. Yeah. Um,
Mm.
um, and that's the key. Really. Because yeah, like our brother said, some people may have certain addictions, and if you don't clear that out, so like for example,
No,
being a
you have
playboy, if
to.
you don't deal with that before marriage, and it gets in the marriage, there can be a problem, and your wife is gonna have to make two decisions. And it really depends. I mean, for example, let's say if it was me, right?
Mhm.
And you saw me flirting with girls. I'm not talking on the internet, I'm talking like in person and stuff like that. You would really get ticked off, and you'd be like, you know what, like, do you love me and stuff like that? And if it got too far where um, other stuff happened, then um you would have the right to say, you know what, I don't want this anymore, because you wanted to be married. And this is what I like about you females, though, because I have seen it in other relationships. You females are very forgiving, and you understand how men are. But when things get too far, that's when
That's
it
it.
gets too far. And
That's
I
it.
understand that 100%. You know, um, I'm not going to mention her name, but you know who she is, right? Like
Mm.
she can slightly deal with her man's, because he's from a different culture, so she can kind of deal with certain things. But if it came to you know what, it'll be like, not taking that. Do you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and I think it's because you women know this type of man that you have, and that's great. And sometimes that's wrong with us men, is sometimes we don't realize the type of woman that we have, and we wreck our own home sometimes. You know what I mean? Um, but mistakes happen, and when they do happen, sit down with each other and say, look, I kind of messed up, and this is why, and etc. etc. And just be open. And I think that's a good place to start from. And also pray to God as well.
Yeah,
I
of
said, Lord,
course.
forgive me of this. Sometimes you probably, I don't know if this happened to you, but sometimes you can't even go to your husband, or the husband can't go to us. Sometimes you have to go to God first and just keep it between you and God. Do you know what I mean?
Boy,
Because
boy,
because
so true.
it do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Not because you're trying to cover anything necessarily, but do
Right.
you know what I mean? Because sometimes you both can be immature in certain things. If you said something, it's gonna be like, damn, like you say God is important as well to have in your life. I see it as a triangle. I'm on the left, you're on the right, and God is at the top. And you draw a triangle, it makes a
Yeah,
triangle because God's at the top. So
because there
yeah,
is there is some things that is I would say impossible to do without God, really, because again, certain things where people would completely wreck their marriage because of not
yeah,
having any
I
self-control.
find that hard to
You
hear,
know what
right?
I
Because
mean?
because some people don't have self-control because of something could have happened in their life, right? And I found it hard when I heard that, because when someone said, not everything you can sometimes tell your partner, you have to give it to God, because it would honestly break certain situations. Until
Yes,
until when you've, kind of dealt with it, then you can bring it up, But
yeah.
and I respect that, and I know you respect that. Um, and what I like how what God does there, He does protect the marriage, and there are things that we can do to make sure we are protected. I mean, this is why I tell you, right? I do not want to. And you say, you say everyone's saying that you're mean, Nathan, and you're not mean. I know you're, and I'm like, yeah, because you're my wife. I don't need to entertain anybody else. So I am gonna be uh plain. I'm gonna be monotone. I'm just gonna keep myself straight because I don't need to entertain anybody now. I got my wife. I'm done. That's me finished. They're your friends. You take the stage. You be you, babe. That's it. I'm done. Let me go with my video games or do you know what I mean, or whatever. Just do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But you know,
I
it's
think,
it's
yeah.
for me. It's me being respectful because I don't want to come across as too friendly or do you know what I mean? So it's
But
just me.
the thing is, babe, I'm learning that, well, obviously for me, again, I didn't go out with a lot of different people before I went out with you, and as I said to you, the people that I did go out with, I made wrong choices, and I wasn't actually able to introduce. I didn't feel okay to introduce them to my friends because because of certain reasons. And with you, I do get excited, or not excited. It's nice to be able to not feel ashamed to, to
Yeah,
introduce
and
you,
like I said, it's different because you're
so
gonna treat me like a trophy, but I don't want to be treated like a trophy. And the reason being is
which I'm
because I got over,
understanding.
yeah, because I got a lot of attention when I was single, and I didn't do anything about that attention. Do you know what I mean? So, um, for me, it's like, right, I need to protect both of us by me stepping back. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Until and that's why I said, now that we're married, we need to start investing in couples, not single people. And
yeah,
like I said, like there's rules now in terms of I ain't gonna take a single person's number or anything, and you don't do that either. If it's a couple, then you know, then we both take their numbers and stuff like. Do you know what I mean? So we have our own boundaries and stuff like that. So and obviously we're not going to be perfect. So obviously have that expectation to how can I put it? I know you love me and you know I love you, but there may be times that something may happen and we have to sit down and talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And work things out. Um, so and we do that already, really. Let's listen to Golden. He's got 2 voice notes.
okay.
Come on. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. It's oh my gosh.
I've noticed that most reality shows out there are talking about hooking up. They rarely talk about marriage. They rarely talk about when it gets serious, when it becomes a serious relationship. They don't want to show maybe the serious aspects or which are the most important aspects of a relationship. They always show, or most of the time show, hooking up. Like that show, I don't know, First Date on Channel 4, I guess, right? When where they meet in a bar or something, or in a restaurant, okay? Or in a hotel or something like that. Or the other show, 50 First Dates, the guy with, Big Ed. Big Ed, yeah, something like that. So, because this is what's trendy, this is what's, hip, this is what's cool these days, hooking up. Seriousness, like a serious relationship, no, this is not cool. People don't want to see that. It's boring. The initial part, the honeymoon phase, this is what they want. Cam.
Oh, come on.
Cam.
Sorry about this, Golden. It's sure, try and press it for me.
Just
Because it's not. Hang on, let me try again.
I know I'm sending lots of messages, but let me tell you something. When it comes to hooking up and marriage, many people don't get it right. I don't know where they got it from, maybe from sitcoms or whatever, or from rom-coms. But let me tell you something. The foundation of marriage is based on having the same standards, the same values. This is the most important thing. It doesn't matter how much you love each other. It doesn't matter at all. And it doesn't matter how much you're attracted to each other. You have to have the same values. That's why it's very unlikely
to have a successful marriage between a liberal and a conservative. Why? Because they have different values. And the most important condition for you to love a person is that you want this person to be the mother or father of your kids. If you don't want this person to be the mother of your father of your kids, that means you don't love them. You're attracted to them, you have lust for them, whatever it is, but it's not love. And that's it.
I agree, bros. Hang on, Shrey, he's got one
Yeah,
more
I-
voice note.
See the difference between single life and marriage. In single life, there is excitement and pleasure. And in marriage, there is fulfillment and joy. There's a difference between joy and pleasure. And there's a difference between excitement and fulfillment. Now, mainstream media promotes what? Pleasure and excitement, not fulfillment and joy. This is what's happening. And many times a person gets addicted to the excitement and pleasure of the single life. They get addicted to the dopamine rush that they get. You know, he gets addicted to the dopamine rush when he hooks up with a girl. It's not only about sex. No. It's about the hooking up with her. You know what I mean? The messages that you exchange, right? Seducing her and she seduces you and everything. The initial phase. This is exciting.
You're speaking real, man. I appreciate that, because not a lot of married men talk about this sort of stuff, and it's true. But what he said though,
Real
and what he's really saying is that a marriage needs to have and he's talking about you need to have the same standards, the same rules. Basically, you need the right and the same foundation. Yeah, and you need to have you can't build a house without first having the ground in place. Yeah, the right foundation to build, and I think that's important. And when you're building a house, something could go wrong. Someone could smash a window, but guess what? The foundation is still there. We can work on the window, but if you do something now to break the foundation, it's going to be hard to repair that. Because we worked on the foundation, we had a foundation, we had a format, we had a agreement, we had do you know what I mean? Like we had a layout, a simple layout that when we came together, this is how it was going to be, and we built on that, And now you've got now breaking that. I could have taken the door being broken off. I could have taken, do you know what I mean? Okay, you accidentally set a fire in the kitchen, but now you've broken the foundation, the concrete that which the house is off. This is deep. And that can be hard to fix. Is the foundation. And again like in a company, so if you foresee something happening, you talk to your advisors about a potential, for example, potential breach or whatever, and in the relationship you have to talk to each other about what's bugging you or what you might be struggling with. Yeah, well, you might want to take it up to God, fair enough, but you have to talk to each other to make the relationship work, because marriage isn't just sitting there and be like, okay, I'm married now, that's it.
I wish it was.
It's literally, it's literally working at it. When I mean working, it's maintaining. A relationship has to be maintained. It's not just getting married and say, "Yeah, we got married because, we had this in common." It's maintaining it now, because like what our brother just said, there are attractions out in the world, and they will always will be, babe. Everything's gonna have. Every man's gonna be tempted, even me. And if I do something, sometimes probably I won't be able to tell you. Probably have to go to God first, and you as well. But we need to keep that foundation. So I know, for example, I know, and you know in your head, what would break off this marriage. I would have to do something for this marriage not to work. But that's not going to happen. Why? Because we're keeping the foundation. So anything now, do you know what I mean? So, I like this topic, man. This is working out great. I haven't even read my notes. But yeah, so like we have to have the right foundation. The Bible says, "Don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers." So again,
Right, I could go on that subject.
there's a requirement. You have to be equal in terms of foundation first. The yoke part, when the Bible talks about the yoke, it talks about the actual yoke attached to, I think it's to two cows, right? So they can do something to the ground, right? What is it? So farmers used to use them. So imagine now a cow yoked with a giraffe. The giraffe is going to do something completely different from the animal would. And I feel that's the problem we're having today, because we haven't got the right counsel when it comes to relationships. And like what our brother said, it's not there. You know, we don't have that now. We really have people making money off sex and cheating. Do you know what I mean? And that's almost praised. Do you know what I mean? People are looked at that as, oh wow. Do you know what I mean? If someone was to get married, you wouldn't hear about it on the news. Oh, this person got married, or do you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't really hear about it. And that's why I like Christian Connections, because when you get married or engaged, you can write to them and they would publish it the week or 2 weeks later. You know what I mean? Because marriage is something that is not looked at as well done. It's kind of like, good luck.
But the thing is, though, people look at it like that, like good luck sort of thing, like, but yet still I'm starting to see like the same people that have those views, they're not, especially they're getting into their, you know, their 40s, 50s, some of them, not, I don't know many, but from what I've seen or witnessed, you know, by watching things again, whether it be social media or TV shows, you know, they're in the end, they're not able to settle down. Years and years later, it's going past, you know, years and years are going by, and you know, they're ending up you know, almost jealous of married people. They're wanting what married people had or have, sorry, and you know, if they had sort of, you know, listened again with the whole Kevin Samuels thing, you know, by watching that with you, are you getting these
that helped though, right?
Yeah, because you know, you're getting these older people, you know, they're not like, well, older people that have almost wasted their youth, you know, regarding like, you know, relationships in their youth, because they've just been all over the place. You know, they now find that time has caught up, and you know, they're still there on their own because, you know, when they're
because
ready
of the
to
choices
settle,
that they've
it's too
made.
late,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah, because of the
yeah.
choices they made when they were younger. So, you know, but I don't know.
I don't want to keep people waiting for too long, because we've been talking for like an hour, but we've got one last voice note, and then we'll see if we can wrap it up a bit. Hang on.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me tell
It's not letting me play it. Hang on a second.
Let me tell you something. Maybe I'm speaking from a guy's perspective, but I'm saying this because I'm a guy and I relate to guys more. Now, if a guy is a player, most of the time he hooks up with girls who are not marriage material. I'm not going to say other words, okay? Just to be
So
respectful.
correct. So
okay?
correct.
Girls who will have one-night stands with him and so on. And most girls who have one-night stands, most of them are not marriage material. Now, he finds the one. He finds a girl who is marriage material. He marries her. But what's the problem here? He got used to the girls who are not marriage material. And now he is married to a girl who is marriage material. But she provides, unless she is smart, unless she knows how to deal with her husband, and she's clever, he got used to the girls that he used to hook up with before. So a girl has to be really smart and know how to handle this.
Yeah, he's got another point, because a lot of sadly black men, they come from that background. They've messed around, then they've come to actual. Because he is right, babe. Because we do know, when a woman is not marriage material, so we think, why not? Yeah. And then because we get in that routine, when we finally have the one or see the one that is wife material, we don't know how to function completely or to operate in that environment. And in fact, we're not, I mean, you'll never be ready for marriage, but there's some things with that type of man that he's just not ready for, or he's struggling with, yeah, because he's so used to sleeping around. And then what he's saying now is that that woman really has to have the patience and love of God in a way to really kind of deal with that. So you may not even see it to even start off with, deal with that, and then kind of have patience with him and kind of be like, look, this is not what a husband should be, and I'm not going to accept this. And I know people will say, oh, leave. But again, you have to understand the days that we're living in at the moment, they're not easy, and you have to work things out. I'm not saying that cheating is right. I mean, me and you wouldn't accept it because you know where we've come from. You know our foundation. But if you know you've taken in somebody that is of a different lifestyle like that, you have to be prepared to help each other grow. Yeah, and it's not for me or it's not for me or anyone else to say, oh, you should do this or you should do that. My encouragement would be talk to each other and sort it out. Because
no, I agree with that, but like through the the courting stage, you basically, like, okay, we were talking about foundations and stuff like that.
you have to know those foundations,
yeah, basically,
but sometimes he may not tell you everything. He may not, and then you might see certain things, and then he might, because he might tell you, yeah, I used to sleep around, but I'm ready to settle down. Now he hasn't told you the in betweens, right? But as a woman now, you got a clear picture of, right, I kind of have a feeling of what this guy could be like if. So now it's your turn to kind of inspect this guy and kind of be like, you know what, can I really deal with a guy like this? And can I marry someone a lifetime
like that? Yeah,
that's like that, and that's what you have to kind of sort out. But again, realize the times and days that we're in, especially for females now. Certain females now are acting like they're men, and they can operate and sleep around like men. So now we're having females acting like men, and for men that want to settle down, they don't know how to. Do you know what I mean? So everything has been flipped and changed upside down in this world at the moment, and you have to know where people are coming from, and you have to know, look, do I really want to deal with this? And I guess probably we should at some point. I should talk about certain questions to ask in the dating season. I think I've done it already. Maybe I need to go over it again, but certain stuff needs to be addressed before you get into. But it also comes down to knowing yourself. What can you manage and what can't you manage, and what is acceptable to you and what isn't acceptable to you in a relationship. Yeah. I hear a lot of people, male and females, complaining about, oh, he's like this and da. But you accepted him. You're responsible for you both are responsible for you're both responsible for the relationship. If I found something about you, Shira, I can't blame you. I have to also take responsibility and blame myself because, damn, I didn't even realize. So, do you know what I mean? So so you're both to blame. Why? Because you're in a relationship. You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
But wow, we've been going on for an hour almost. But to close, right? Is marriage worth it? Yeah, it is. There's a lot of good sides to it. We have fun, we play around and stuff, and if the house is a mess, we still go on dates and stuff like that. We dress up. It's fun.
It is very fun.
We have control over if we tidy up or not, and if we get takeaway and all that stuff. She watch a movie, yes, no, and so you have all that, and so it's fun. It's fun.
It's
but
nice.
you have to be. But there are some things you have to be ready for. You have to be ready for. And or watch out for, or take note of. For example, you have to learn to share. You have to learn to communicate. Can't be selfish. Remember that two different people are trying to become one and work together. You have to learn to share, and that kind of comes under the selfish part. So, and you both have different views on what is clean or what is even mess in the house, for example.
Yeah.
You know, so that's different. And you have to understand that, and again, work with each other. You know, it's funny, these small things can actually break relationships, and when you're ending a relationship over cleaning and stuff like that, it kind of shows the real reason why you got married. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Oh yeah.
you know, people break marriage. Money is kind of something slightly different, but again, you should
We haven't
know
really
how they
experienced
operate
that
with
bit
money.
yet.
Hmm?
No, we haven't got to that bit, but I'm sure, you know, when we, in the future, to be honest,
Money?
you know,
What do you mean? No,
those
we
things
have.
will
I mean,
pop up first anyway.
no, I mean, no. What I mean is managing money in terms of
Oh right.
in terms of I don't rinse out my money in a sense of when it comes to paying for the rent and stuff. You're like, Nathan, what on earth? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have a money issue or gambling
Oh
issue. Do you
no,
know what I
no,
mean?
no.
And something that I learned was, you didn't tell me this, but I told you. I always said to you, by the way, baby, is it okay if I take £50 out my account because I want to buy something, but I don't know if you need help with shopping. Do you know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah.
if you need help with because, and the reason I'm telling you is because you don't always tell me if you need help with something, so I'm making sure that I tell you first.
Just in
Um,
case, yeah.
yeah, if you need anything. Um, so that's important. But do you have anything to say before we go? We've been on for an hour. Do you have anything you wanted to say, or?
Not really, because I suppose it's been a long day. But yeah, but no, I think yeah, it's a broad subject, you know. But I think that's it for tonight.
Yeah, all right then. Thanks, guys, for listening, and
Thanks
we
for
will.
listening.
I think this has been a good one, so I might have you on at another point, sure. But yeah, thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.